I'm Jeffrey. I'm alcoholic. Thanks for showing up. Wow, there's like 3 people here when I sit down. Uh, Life, I had a good childhood, except I just didn't fit in. I was born in Oxnard and raised in Port Hueneme in the 60s and 70s, and this was a great place to grow up. I was good as long as I could play and stuff, but I had troubles in school. I didn't fit in. I never felt like I fit in. Like all the kids knew something I didn't know, and it just caused me a lot of problems in school where I couldn't learn, I couldn't keep up, so I just wouldn't do anything. And by the time I got in high school, I was in special education, but I wasn't disabled, I was just stoned. And that's where it all started. Because I just, smoking weed and doing acid and stuff. But then when I found alcohol, when I was about 15, it was after the summer of 70. You all have that one summer where last summer you're a kid and it's just the greatest summer in your life, and then everything goes to shit. You start having to be an adult and things get hard. And mine was 1976. And after that I found alcohol and I immediately started getting in trouble. I'm a blackout drinker. I'm violent when I drink. I make up stories. I'll say just I'll be any kind of occupation you want. But I just do crazy, crazy stuff. Violent and break stuff and and I don't know why, because I feel like I'm a nice guy. But I just get in trouble. I got my first felony when I was like 8. That was cool because they couldn't arrest me till my mom got there. The big kids were putting me through bedroom windows and doggy doors, and I was unlocking the door so they could booger ride. But it's cool. And them days of $5, give me $5, $10. I was like Matchbox car was like 35 cents. I had to hide them from my mom. But it was just part of my life. And but the alcohol, man, when that started, I was done. It was just immediate problems. I was referred to Alcoholics Anonymous when I was about 16. I was still a teenager. And I was doing that and just drinking. I always worked. I was a function. I could work. I liked to work. So I always had a job. And then I was living on Oxnard Shores in a 1-bedroom apartment with like 8 people. It was just a party house, and I was sleeping behind the couch in the corner with some girl, and she got pregnant. And wow. But I was still drinking and still doing crazy shit, going to jail. Getting drunk in public, and I tried that with her, and she just hung on there, and she stayed mostly with my parents. And then I went in the Army, and I loved the Army. I loved the Army, and it was I just loved it. And I loved the discipline, the structure, but they condoned drinking. And I drank, and I got in trouble. And I did a lot of stuff, and I went home on leave one time, and that girl got pregnant again. And so we got married for basically the Army gave us more money. They just cut her a check and sent her a check. And we did that, and I got in some trouble. I was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and I got in some trouble. I got some felonies down there, and the Army come and got me out. They sent me to rehab at Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. I went down there, I did the interim inside treatment for that, and they sent me back out. And then I went to Korea, and they got this stuff called soju. It costs us like $0.25, and you can't even finish the bottle. It's so potent, and I drank that. And I drank 10-cent beers, and I got in a lot of trouble. And they sent me to rehab again. They sent me to rehab at 121 Hospital in Seoul, Korea. They took me off the DMZ and sent me to rehab. and I went to rehab again. They gave me that my second chance. I was a good soldier. I was worth retaining, but I just couldn't stop drinking. I just couldn't do it. And I got back out, and I went back up to the DMZ, and I went out on patrol one night, and I snuck into a village, and I got shit-faced drunk. And they had to come in and get me out. The Koreans had me. They had my weapon. They had all my stuff, and I woke up in a camp, and the first sergeant kicked at me and said, "Get your ass up. You're under arrest." And they sent me back to the rear, and I was under arrest, and I escaped. And I got back out in the village, and I went to these people's farm, and I started burning it down in a blackout. And they come and got me. The Korean police had me this time, and they had me like belted to some bars somehow, and the MPs, they come and got me, and they took me out, and they sent me home to Oakland Army Base, escorted prisoner. And I was just ashamed of myself that I had lost my career, that I went out like that. But when I got to Oakland Army Base, the guy that was out processing, he told me, your company commander gave you an honorable discharge. He said you were a good enough soldier. He gave you an honorable discharge. And he wrote me a letter, and he said, "Sergeant Keir, if you do not stop drinking, within a couple of years, you will be dead or in a penitentiary somewhere." And I didn't listen. I just kept drinking, and I went back, to this woman, and we had the 2 kids, and she got pregnant again, and she couldn't do it, and she gave that baby up for adoption. She wouldn't do the abortion or nothing, so she gave the baby up for adoption. I didn't care. I was in my cups, and the baby just went. I went and saw her one time. I had to go inside the hospital and sign the papers. The judge came. It was a private adoption, and I signed the papers, and I saw her, and they took her. The people took her, and that was that. And then I kept drinking, and got a couple more felonies, because the police show up whenever I'm doing crazy stuff. The police show up, and I'm wound up, so I fight with them. They forget about everything I was doing. And they just give me charges for the police. So through all that, finally I went to, the woman had enough, and she went to Seattle. She took the kids, and she went to Seattle. And I drank, and I was glad. And I drank into their going, drink all I want, no one to bother me. And then about 3 days, I go, I think I loved her, and my heart was broken, and I never felt no pain like that in my life. That hurt bad. I didn't even want to wake up. It hurt so bad, because I knew deep down that I had did that. I had did that to myself, and that shit hurt. It hurt bad, and I just kept drinking. And my mom said, "Man, you got to get out of here, man." They passed that 3-strike law, and I was already struck out. If they pressed it on me, and I did a geographic to Texas. And I went to Texas to stay with my brother, and I was drinking, and he said, "Man, you gotta go." So I got a job. I had a job at a sheet metal plant, and I was out drinking, and somehow I just combed it out. I'd been drinking so hard. They just combed it out, and these dudes just dropped me off at the emergency room. And I woke up in the like strapped down to this bed inside a hospital, and then after that, they just sent me to rehab, and the boss from the job came and said, "We'll pay for it." So I went through my 3rd rehab in that hospital. And I left that rehab, and that's my 3rd time through rehab. And I did not know that the first 164 pages was the program, because I wasn't ready to stop drinking. Every time I went in them programs, I was not listening. I did not care. As soon as I get out of here, I'm going to drink. I'm going to just cool out until the trouble goes away, and then I'm going to drink. And that's what I did. And I was drinking hard, and I had no one to tell me not to drink. And after the rehab, I went to a halfway house, a sober home, and I stayed there for, a couple of months. And then I just said, man, I need a beer. And I went and I started drinking. And I went out, and I was living out in the country in like, like an encampment. It's just a bunch of bikers and alcoholics. It's just a bunch of dudes standing out there, had some trailers, and I was living out there. And then I went in with these dudes one day into this place called Elkhart, and we went to a dope house. I don't know what they were going there for, but I went in there, and I thought it was a good idea just to start shooting. And I went in there, and I started shooting, and I got in a firefight with the officer, Curtis McDougal, and I shot my way out of the house. I pinned down Officer McDougal, and I won that battle, but I lost the war because every police officer in the surrounding counties was after me. And I got 22 miles through the woods, thanks to my Army training. And I got into Palestine, Texas, and it was lunchtime, and there were some people all going to this Mexican restaurant, and there was cops everywhere. I knew they got me. So I just ran out into the middle of them people and gave up. If they would have caught me in the woods, that would have been it. We're talking about Texas. And they got me, and I was in trouble. I was in big time trouble. And get to this, I was not Al Capone. I was not a gangster. I was not a thug. I was just an alcoholic. All my troubles was from alcohol. And I'm sitting in here in this courtroom, and when you got a capital case, they bring up everything. Everything. The ambulance driver I attacked, they brought all of that. He's a public servant. So I had all this, and I was done. And I sit there, they keep coming at me with 80 years, 70 years. And finally, they got down to 30 without parole, and I took it. And I was sentenced to 30 years to the Texas Department of Corrections without parole. And I went down there, and because of my violent history against the police, I was sent to maximum security. If to be in California, it'd be like a level 4, where I could not ever work my way up. I was stuck there for 30 years. And max is not where you want to be. And it was brutal, and that was my life. And I'm not a thug. I'm not a gangster. I'm just an alcoholic in a maximum security prison. But now I got to play the game. Now I got to be part of the system. So I did that, and these fine fellows from the Aryan Brotherhood asked me to join their group. And you just do not say no. And I did that, and to get through the territory, and they got me in a bunch of trouble. And I went to SAG, which is a form of solitary confinement, for 7 years for gang violence. And I was in there. Didn't know what time it was, what day it was. I was just locked in this room, this solid cell, and I was pissed. I was very angry. And I just walked in circles, and I worked out, and I did whatever. I would get up in the morning, and I would roll up my mattress if I had one. Sometimes they would take the mattress if you was throwing piss on them or something, doing something disruptive. And I just walked. and I'd work out and I'd walk. And so they had to give me religious books. So I read the Bible like a bunch of times, every version. And then I wanted to read the Book of Mormon, so I had to write I-60 to the chaplain. I told them I'm a Mormon, and they had to send me a Book of Mormon. Then I wanted to read the Quran, so I'm a Muslim. But then when I was a Muslim, it was during Ramadan, so I didn't get to eat during the day. Where's my chow? And so I did that. But while I was reading these books, I was getting a message. I was getting a message without the messenger, without the religion or anything. I was just getting a message, and I was changing. And I was changing. I started talking to God, which was in my mind at this time was Andy Griffith. So I would talk to Andy Griffith, and I loved Andy Griffith. I got a picture of him on my wall right now, sitting at his desk, because he was so non-judgmental. Because I was not a bad person. It's not a thug. It's not a gangster. Well, I'm a gangster now, but by default. And I just changed, man. I stopped being disruptive. I stopped getting my ass kicked. I stopped getting gassed. They stopped, messing with me, trying to get a rise out of me. And my life just changed. I was in the same cell. I was in 14A and 11, but my life had changed. My heart had changed. I had changed. Because I remember, I didn't know about the book, but I knew about the program. I knew at that point, I surrendered. At that point, I did this. I did this to myself. Not a stupid-ass judge, not these bitch-ass guards. I did it to myself. And when I got that, things could change. Things could change. So what do you do now, Jeffrey? I heard in Andy Griffith's voice. What do you do now, Jeffrey? You change. I'm done. That's it. I can't drink. I'm done. I got it. That was my turning point in 14A11. That was my turning point. And I changed from that point. And I came out. The feds came in. They said, man, you got to start letting these gang members out. If they renounce their gang membership, you got to let them out. So they came in, and then you got to get, right, Kites, you got to get permission from the wheel, from the gang leaders to go to this program. It's called it's gradual something where you come back out. They said, yeah, you could go, because I had like 18 years at this point or so. I'd been locked up like 18 years. And I went, and I come out, and you come out, and it was all different gang members. It was mostly white and Hispanic gang members. And you go out, and we came out for 3 months. They put us in the old death row on LS1 unit, and you go out you could go out to a cage with somebody else. They put you in a cage with one other guy. You did that for 3 months. And then for another 3 months, you came out, and they put you with like 4 guys in a cage. And then the next 6 months, you come out, you all come out, you had a cellie, and you went to classes, like cognitive intervention, anger management, and all this. And you just got to sit in there with the wood pile, with the Hemi, with all these cuff guys, and just play the part, right? But I'm eating this shit up. No one can make you angry but yourself. Cool, that works. You know what I mean? Just be in the moment, just right now. Don't worry. That's where I'm eating this up. Still playing the part, but I'm changed. And so I get out, I go back to general population. When they send me back to general population, they send me down south to Ramsey Unit, which is down by Beaumont. And it's a convict farm. Like it was the older guys that had been locked up for a long time. So you could kind of kick back. because where all the young guys are, they call them gladiator units. It's wild. So they knew if they send you a convict farm that you can make it. You can just stay out of the mix and do your time. That's what I did. I come out, I did my time, and I was doing good. Just doing my time, just mind my own business. And they come out and they called me to parole one day. And I said, I don't got parole. They said, they want you to get away from my house. I'm not going to parole. You got the wrong inmate. So they went, a sergeant came. He said, they want you at parole. So I don't have parole, Sarge. I'm going down there, they made a mistake. So then he goes, okay, I'll get the lieutenant. Well, when the lieutenant comes, the Ninja Turtles come with him. Ninja Turtles got on football helmets, on the umpire pad, the electric shields and stuff. You're going. Okay, I'm going. So off I went, and it was a panel, and they were just asking me questions about why my discipline had changed. Why are you getting in trouble no more? They showed me on a computer, look at all this you did. And now I said, I'm old. Came in here in my 20s. I'm in my 50s. I'm just tired. Whatever I'm doing is really none of your business, but I'm doing it. And it's working. And that's all that matters to me. Okay, and they send me back to the house, to the cell. And they come and got me the next day. And there was just one woman. And she's like, they're sending you home 5 years early. Wow. Man, did they let me go? Andy Griffith let me go. So I had to go to called a pre-release program for 6 months. It's where where after they make you a monster, they try to clean you up a little bit, but they put you back in the world, and everybody in this program's been locked up for 20, whatever, a long time. And I went there to this program, and I did that. And I ate that stuff up, and I got ready. And because the units I was on wouldn't allow volunteers to come in, at this last place I was at was the only time I could go to AA. And it was called the Winner's Circle. And I went there, and I sit in the back with the wood pile, with all the white guys, and there was 2 old black guys who used to come in every Friday, and we would have to stand by the cell block door because they would only take like 5 off a wing, so you had to stand there for like an hour or so just to get out. And these old guys didn't show up, you just stood there for nothing, you didn't go. That's how important it was. And I was eating it up. I never talked to them, I never thanked them, because you don't talk to black people when you're white in the penitentiary. That's not how it works. That's just the way it is. But I listened to them, and they helped me, and they saved my life. They were a part of saving my life. And I listened, man, and they said, man, you go to meetings, you do this and that, you're not coming back here. There's like 30 of you in this classroom, 2 of you are going to make it. I'm going to make it. Because I was ready. I already had my program going. I was going to make it. And then I finished the program. Most people that finish the program, they go to Texas. So they get right out. But me, I was interstate compacting back to California, which was a gamble because California didn't have to take me back. Because if we got rid of this individual, we don't want him back. And so after I graduated the program, I was still on the school wing for like a month. Most guys are gone within 4 to 5 days. And I'm thinking, and then they come one night and they told me, roll up your shit. You're going back to transit. I'm going, they're going to send me back to Huntsville. California rejected me. And I almost went back. Instead of being Jeffery, I almost went back to being 601184 and just go tell them, you know what, fuck you. Go get the gas. I'm not going back. Drag me. I was pissed. They're sending me back to my unit. So I thought about it. Nah. That's how it is, man. I did it. I got 5 more years to do. That was short. I've already done 25. What's 5 more years? But I went back to the transit wing, and they came that night about 10:30 to pack up your shit. You're going home tomorrow. I'm going, why am I going back to Huntsville? He said, because you're interstate compacting. All interstate compacts go back to Huntsville. Man. So I just met this dude. This dude was the cellie I had on my bunk. He was just getting to the program, so I brought all my shit back, like I'm going back to my unit. So I took a bag of corn nuts and my hygiene, and I said, here you go, dude, this is your shit. And I left. And I got on the Midnight Special. You ever heard that song, Midnight Special? That's about the Texas chain bus, if you listen to the lyrics. And I got on the Midnight Special, and I went back to Huntsville. And I'd been on Huntsville for 11 years. I've been on the walls and I knew a lot of guys there. And I'm cruising through the chow hall. I'm going home, man. I'm going home. And there was when they send you out in some clown clothes, right? Stuff they get from the Goodwill. There was a black officer, Gabriel. I was there in my prime, studding up, acting like a fool. When he came in, when he got hired on as a guard, and he came in, and I called that dude every racial slur you can imagine. I gave him the blues, man. Newbie, new boo, you ain't gonna last. And that day I out-processed, 25 years later, he was a sergeant, and he was doing the out-processing, and he saw me. He was like, he said, you're going, they let you go? I'm going home, Gabriel. I'm going home, dude. And he turned to the inmates that were handing out the clothes. He said, see this guy? He was a real Peckerwood. He said, give him a pair of them good court clothes. And he sent me out a nice pair of clothes. And I walked out the gate, and I was free. First time I took a free breath in 25 years. I spent every minute of my 30s and every minute of my 40s in prison. I couldn't talk for like 6 hours. I tried to talk to my mom. First time I ever seen a cell phone. My brother was there, and I got in this big truck, and it just drove off. It was so quiet, I didn't even know it was on. And I went home. And there was a friend of mine I did like 14 years with. He'd been out for like 10 years. And he came, I called him, man, I got out, man. And he came and met, and we went to Walmart, and I saw a paper clip on the ground. And I was like, I picked that paper clip. That's a handcuff key. You can do all kinds of stuff with a paper clip. And I was just amazed that everything wasn't locked down. And that was June 18th, 2015, I got out. And I went to Houston. They got me, my brother and my friend got me to the airport. I get to the airport. I'm going to get on a plane and go through security. I'm on the security threat group list. I'm a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. I said, no, I'm not. I said, you're on this computer. I said, I went through grad. You better call somebody. So they did whatever they did. They said, get him out of Texas. Put him on a plane. So they put me in a wheelchair. They said, you got to ride in the wheelchair. We're going to take you up to special gate. They took me through the gate. And I went home, and I got an airplane, and I landed in L.A., and my mom and my sister was there, and my sister handed me a cell phone. It's worked ever since. I guess she pays the bill. And every time I break it, I just go, I broke my phone. And, yeah. And life was good. I went on, I was on 26th row in Huntsville on that morning, June 18th, 2015. And then that evening, I was in Oxnard in an AA meeting at St. Anthony's Church, a Friday night meeting. And I know 3 guys from that meeting that I still know today. And then the next day I went to Peninsula and it was on. I just started meeting people and my life changed. I knew nothing about being a man. I knew nothing. I'd been a soldier, an alcoholic, and a convict. And I knew nothing about life. Except I was happy as shit to be free. And I had an EBT card. And the candy aisle at the 99-cent store was like Disneyland. Yeah, it was good. So I did that, and I got sober, and stuff just started happening. And I stayed with the group. I stayed with the flock. They gave me bicycles. They gave me clothes. They gave me jobs. They gave me places to live. And everything that I've gotten was the perfect place for me. The perfect thing. I got this old bicycle on my dad's shed. And I started riding around, because when I was in SAG, I would lay on the floor and close my eyes and just put my arms like that. And I would just ride around town on a bicycle in my mind. And I would just ride. I'd ride by my friends' houses. I'd ride by my family's houses. I'd ride by my school. I'd ride by the beach. I'd ride out on the pier in Fort Hueneme. So that's what I did. I got that old bicycle, and I love riding my bicycle. I started getting better bicycles. I started riding around the county. I got a better bicycle. I started riding around 2 or 3 counties. And I started riding over everywhere. I ride a lot. I ride like 230 miles a week. Zoe from Santa Barbara is one of my riding partners. We just did the Mulholland Challenge. That was brutal. And that's what I do. I love being free. In 2 weeks, I always go to Bakersfield for a corporate picnic, and I stay in a hotel and I ride my bicycle home from Bakersfield. Because I love being free. I love it. A couple weeks ago, I went to Seattle, because I have a daughter in Seattle. And that woman that kept getting pregnant was there. And my daughter was there. And the baby we gave up for adoption was there. I hadn't seen her in 40 years. We found her on one of them DNA sites. And we all got together. And it was amazing. She's just like her mom. I call her Marcia Jr. It was amazing. I had a son. He's one of us. He was in and out of prison. He's got my genes, I guess. And he just couldn't get it, man. And he called me a Friday. I drive a truck, steel truck, perfect job. I'm free. I got north. I got from Ventura to Santa Maria. Beautiful places to go. I go everywhere, and I just drop off steel. And I'm the steel guy. And these guys with the big beards and the big boots, the tough guys, they're, why are you so friendly, Jeffrey? You don't even know. So I do that. But my son, he called. I was in the truck driving on there. I called me one Friday, and he's all, man, Dad, man, we're going to get together, man, because I know you're getting off parole. And I'm almost off parole because they wouldn't let me sing. They wouldn't let me off the state to go see. And I'm doing good, man. I just got out of the Salvation Army, and it's all right. And that was Friday. And then Saturday, my sister says, man, come over, man. Because whenever my sister says come over, she's got me a surprise. She bought me something. So I went over and she told me Larry got killed last night. His girlfriend said he was drunk and she had kicked him out, and she went to work, and I think I went up there and she was crossing the street by a bus. I think he was going over that bus stop to lay down or something on the bus stop, and he walked out in front of a drunk driver and got killed. So I think Andy did it like that, to where if I was drinking, or maybe not if I was drinking, if it didn't happen like that, if my son wasn't intoxicated, I would have went up there and I would have took care of that. I could, but the way it happened, that his life was ruined. My son was intoxicated. He was intoxicated, but he really wasn't doing anything. He was just driving. How many times have I drunk? And so I can't even, I feel sorry for the dude. I can't even hate him. And it's such a blessing to be able to do that, to have the tools and stuff, to not have that hate, because that hate would destroy me. It would take everything I have right now if I let the hate from that destroy me. No way. It ain't worth my peace. My peace is so precious. And that's just, that was hard, but I didn't have to drink. I didn't even think of drinking. I didn't think of drinking. My mom and my sister and all them, they're, oh, don't say this to him, or don't mention that. I'm going, Mom, I'm not going to drink. I don't drink because bad stuff happens to me. Bad stuff happens to me because I drink. I say, I'm not going to drink over a pain or suffering. I'm going to drink because I like to drink. I love to drink, but I just can't drink. It's not what I can do anymore. So I ride my bicycle. I work 50 to 60 hours a week. I don't have a dog. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I got a plant named Charlie. I had a girlfriend, but me and Charlie barely got out of her life. So, but me and Charlie are doing good in our little studio, and life is good. And I'm glad there wasn't no pack. It was kind of nice, kind of small. And Cliff, 35-year Cliff, that's my sponsor. He keeps me in line. Big John was my sponsor, and then Big John kind of faded. He did a religious thing. He kind of floated off, and Cliff called me one day, and he knew I didn't have a sponsor. I wasn't trying to find a sponsor. And he invited me to a donut shop. He knew. He knew I wasn't going to turn down a donut. So I left that donut shop with glaze in my mustache and a new sponsor. And that's good, man. And the people that I mess with are people in the program. Yeah, I ride with Zoe. I call my friend Finnis every day. Finnis is my good friend, and I got a pickup. And if I had somebody else on the insurance, it's cheaper if I have another driver. So I got Finnis on there. I go, I know a lot of people I can trust. So I put Finnis on there, and it's just great. Oh, and one other thing, when I got out, I went to get an ID. They used to use your driver's license number at the county jail, so I knew it by heart. I had 2 driver's licenses because I lost one. And I gave them numbers, and they looked at me and they said, "You're deceased." I said, "No, I'm standing right here." They go, "This person is deceased." I go, "No. I got parole papers from the state. Call them." Because parole sent me down. You get an ID today. And so I went to do that, and they got supervised. What do we do? And so I got a brand new driver's license, no record. I'm clean. So the cops asked for my license now. I'm like, here. That's something. Then Big John, my old sponsor, tried to file my taxes, and they said I was dead. So someone reported me to say I was gone so long. Because they tell you when you get out, they tell you to check your credit because people, long-time inmates, people use your information now. And you wouldn't even know it. But they didn't use mine because I was dead. And that's all the time I got, and I'm Jeffrey, I'm an alcoholic.
Let's thank our speaker one more time.